Wagwan masses, welcome back to One Name Sports. The transfer window is now open, but instead of looking at rumors, I wanted to give the best but improbable transfers for all the top teams in the Premier League. A couple of these players are interchangeable, but I wanted to do one per team, and I'll start off with the champions. Liverpool were by far the best team in the Premier League past season, and there aren't many areas that they can improve, but one definitely is in the center forward line. I love Bobby Firmino, and so does Klopp, and his work rate is unrivaled. He's the reason that Salah ends up with as many goals as he does. He'll drop deep in the midfield. The only player that works just as hard that I see that could also fit the Liverpool system is Raul Jimenez. He'd be a great fit, not a very flashy player, hardworking. I think he'd be perfect for Liverpool and what they're doing, and he'd love to go there. I think right now he has peaked with Wolves and as much as he can offer. And at 29, it would be a good opportunity to win some trophies and make an impact on a Champions League competing team. The problem is if Klopp wasn't willing to spend 50 million on Timo Werner, I don't think he'll spend 40 million on Jimenez. Next up is City, and for them, I think it's Harry Kane. Harry Kane right now solves their center forward problem. They have Aguero, who is reliable, but he's older and kind of getting all these niggling injuries. And you have Jesus, who is just not consistent enough. He's a little undersized too. Harry Kane he would love to get out of Tottenham into a more attacking team. He wants to stay in England and win some trophies. City would be the best place for him to do all of that, but he cost 200 million to Tottenham, so that move will never happen. Next up is my team, Man U, and I'm going to go with N'Golo Kante. He's in a situation right now at Chelsea where he's surplus to requirements, but Man U right now is using a player that we wanted to sell before the pandemic in Nemanja Matic as our starting defensive midfielder. McTominay, who is next up, is still a little unpolished. Having somebody with that high work rate that N'Golo Kante has would fit perfectly into our system. It's just improbable for him to move from Chelsea to a rival like Man U. So I don't see it ever happening, but he would fit. He'd be able to leave and still play big ball. But I think if he's going to leave Chelsea, he's going out of the country, maybe PSG, Juve, one of those other teams. But I think Man U would be the place for him, and he'd fit in nicely. On to Chelsea, and for me, it's Adama Traore. Imagine an attack with Pulisic, Timo Werner, and Adama Traore coming at you and your defenders. That's not a team I want to face week in, week out. The problem right now at Chelsea is that they are so overloaded at so many positions, and they're already paying for Hudson-Odoi. But they have the space. Willian has left, Pedro has left, and you need that kind of assisting winger, not really one that's going to score. So he'll be able to play and set up Giroud or Tammy Abraham, whoever you have in the middle there. It would just be a nasty, nasty attack. The main issue is that Chelsea has already spent so much money between Ziyech and Werner. Right now, their biggest concern is defense and goalkeeper, so I don't really see Adama being on their radar. Moving down the table, we're on to Leicester. And the best fit for them, actually, I see is Jack Grealish. Their form tapered off towards the end of the season because Maddison and a couple of their creative players just weren't in form. Grealish is a player where I think his head right now is a little higher than it's supposed to be. None of the top teams really want him, especially for the price, and he doesn't really fit in any of the top teams. He's a 10/winger that really doesn't have any speed. Leicester is a team that, you have Harvey Barnes, you have Ayoze Perez. He'd fit right into what they're trying to do and be able to support the big man, Jamie Vardy. I think him and Maddison could develop a good relationship, and we all know you can get England call-ups from there. The biggest issue right now is Leicester's not paying 80 million for anybody. And I don't think he'd want to go to Leicester. He's looking more for the traditional top four teams. The other Europa League team is Tottenham, and for them I have two players, first being Danny Ings. He's a very similar striker to Harry Kane, a little bit older, but he knocked in 20 goals this past season. I don't think he'd cost that much. I just don't know how interested Tottenham is in a player like that. because Ings would be riding the bench most of the time, but it would give them a chance to not be so reliant on Kane, especially with his injury problems, and won't get into a situation that they were in last year. The next player is Todd Cantwell. Cantwell, to me, is already better than Harry Winks, Skip, and more consistent than Lamella, so he can come in and get a game, especially with Dele Alli peaking right now at the moment. He'll get that England exposure as well. I just think he would fit and be able to take them to another level. These are probably two of the more probable transfers out of all the others that I spoke of, but I don't know how much Tottenham is looking their way and how much they have to spend. The last Europa League team I'll go over is Arsenal, and for them I went with two midfielders, first being Paul Pogba and the second being Declan Rice. Arsenal relied this whole season on one player that they wanted to sell, former captain Xhaka, and another player that is on loan that doesn't want to be there. So I think those two players coming in would solve their system. Pogba wouldn't want to go there. He'd want to go to a side that's going to possibly compete for winning the Champions League. And Declan Rice, I think he'd prefer to stay at West Ham at the moment. He's not making any noise. And I think, you're getting your England call-ups from there. So he'd probably want to go to a more top team than Arsenal. He doesn't want to go from, mid-table to mid-table. Last team I'll look at is Wolves. For me, it's two players again, Richarlison and Wilfred Zaha. Now, for both of them, Wolves is not somewhere they're looking at to go. Again, it's a mid-table to mid-table switch. But Richarlison especially fits their system so well. He can be opposite of Adama, take the place that Jota is kind of playing in right now and a couple of their other Portuguese player. He's Brazilian as well, so he'd fit in. He knows how to speak Portuguese. They'd work really well with the system and the coach. I think Ancelotti has a little more respect there, so he wouldn't want to move there. He's looking for a Barcelona move or something like that. The next one is Zaha. Zaha, again, he has his head a little bit higher. A lot of these English players do. He's looking to go to an Arsenal or a Chelsea or something like that. But he needs a little humility. He needs to play for a team that's looking to challenge Europa League places and stuff like that. Him, again, just being opposite Adama Traore with Jimenez in the middle, it would just be such a crazy attack. And I think at 29 or 28, I think he's up there. That's where he should really be looking. Remember to like, subscribe, and share. Let me know in the comment section below if there's any other players that you think fill bigger needs at some of these clubs, or any other want-away players that I missed. Thanks again, and look out for the next video.